Welcome everybody, my name is Alex Douedari and I am a market analyst, trader and the host of the Markets for Breakfast show on Naga. And I welcome you to our video today where we want to go through a couple of questions I was asked personally so that I can give you an intro about what it is that I do, how my history to become a trader or am a trader these days and a market analyst, how I went, what kind of phases I went through to get there, what are my favorite markets, my favorite approaches, so stay tuned as we go along. So before I started trading myself or became a market analyst further on, I used to work for a private German bank, and I was actually very much into understanding like how does this financial industry work to begin with? How do markets work? How do they operate? And that is really where my background started off, from working for a place and then making the shift over to the trading side basically. So what are my hobbies? Well, I used to be all markets for a long time, but before that, I had a life before trading really, and that was music. I was a musician, I was a music producer, so that was like my hobby back in the day, which I still exercised a little bit, but mostly really I'm very interested in how do markets react with each other, especially the fundamental relationships, like what is risk on these days, what is risk off, how which markets actually interact, how with each other. And that's something that keeps me very, very interested. And if I really would have to answer with a hobby, I'm very much into cars. So I like to customize my cars, individualize them, make them uniquer, faster, nicer, beautiful. I know, exactly like trading. So it's really just, always work on creating the fine details for something. How long have I been trading? Well, I've been trading for over 10 years now. And within that 10 years, I've had different phases of trading, different markets I put my attention on, different ways of trading. And I really think that if you want to be successful in whatever it is, you got to fall in love with the process of doing it. And that's what trading gave me. It gave me a process I could fall in love with, I could do over and over and over again and always be intrigued to make it better, to find a different angle, a different perspective. And that's why I'm still here. How did I get into trading? Well, before I was trading or working for a bank back then, I in fact was a musician. I had a music studio and we were producing music, and we went top 10 in the charts in 3 countries back then. And I made some money actually from that, and I invested it on the Forex market. Back then the market wasn't as connected, or you didn't have platforms like Naga these days. There was nothing like that. So I did a mistake and invested that money in a not informed way and lost the money. These days, you have a big advantage. I mean, just look at the choices you have on the Naga platform, what you can trade, with whom you can trade, which markets, sectors, auto trading. There's so many things you can delve into. That is just great, in my opinion, and that is a big game changer that allows everyone to really become, responsible about their own financial well-being and not just leave the money on the bank or give it to someone else without knowing what's actually going on yourself. What type of trader am I and why? Well, I would say I'm the kind of trader that I need to be to succeed in my current environment. That's really what I believe is the most important thing, to be adaptable, that you're able to try new things out, even at the expense that they may not work, because things will change. And the faster the new thing that has a better application and a more, prospect for success, the sooner you will be on the path to success, ahead of the curve. So I would call myself, I'm an innovator trader, because I'm always looking for the newest edge, for the newest strategy, for the newest market that makes most sense given how the forces around the markets at that present time are really working. So scalping, intraday, position trading, I just say all of these approaches can work. And it has a lot to do with how well you understand the market you want to trade in. And also, make no mistake, if you want to do scalping, you're just opting for very few pips, very quick in, out. So you got to have the time, the attention, the technology. I mean, if you're trying to do that on an old laptop, you'll likely not be fast enough. So there's many things that you need to consider depending on the trading style that you want to achieve. When you work daytime, then scalping is not going to work for you. But position trading may also, have less of a cyclical approach to it as it used to be, given that there's so much quick information changing hands these days. So you got to find a sweet spot in between, and that's why we do what we do here. We put a lot of effort into, showing you other successful trading approaches, information, edge in information, understand where to get or how to get information, and also how to action upon that information, how to put it together, how to analyze, to synthesize all of that. So, and I believe that this will get you on your journey to find out what kind of trading style is actually yours. So, strategies. I am a friend of strategies that are mainly I want to be out of the market as quickly as possible in most strategies. Like I told you, there's different strategies with different approaches, but the less exposure you have being in a market overnight, over a weekend, over a holiday, the less unforeseen can happen. So I like to have a good mix of both. So some strategies are fine. They run a number of days, the trades, but others I want to be in and out same day. And very short term, like the scalping, for example, here, the thing is that it really depends on the trading hours and how crowded the market is and the liquidity, how thin or not it is, that whether it allows to have actually opportunities in this market pace, So I try to stay out of that very, very fast stuff. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you are focusing on, what works for you, what you understand, and where you are finding your edge. So which markets do I mainly trade? Well, I like to trade major currencies simply because I believe trading costs are relevant. And if you trade something with a lower spread versus something with a wider spread, then typically you have lower trading costs, which I believe is a good thing. So I'm a friend. I look at euro pairs, I look at dollar pairs, I look at the big indices, to understand what kind of risk sentiment we're having in the markets. So I'm talking about the 3 big indices in the US, sometimes also some of these single stocks. And that is more or less what I'm doing. I'm also looking at oil and gold, so quite traditional with some Bitcoin flavoring on top. So that's typically where my attention goes throughout the day.